Hello and welcome to the Diamond Diaries Podcast. I'm here with Jack Doyle, third baseman for the Northeastern Jack, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Good to be here. So a little bit about myself. I grew up in Weymouth, Massachusetts. I grew up playing hockey and baseball. I ended up playing golf in high school, which is a great idea, a lot of fun. But went to Weymouth High, continued playing hockey and baseball, and was fortunate enough to continue playing baseball at Northeastern University once I was done with high school.
That's great. And in your time at Northeastern University, which is now sadly finished, at least from a baseball perspective, you played with a lot of great future major league talent, including some major league talent already. How, when you're playing there, do you have a sense of the guys who are kind of going to make it?
Yeah, so it's funny, right? When you get to school, you're obviously surrounded by a bunch of talented kids. Everyone in there was the best player on their high school teams, so there's a lot of talent coming in. But that first sense of awe when you get there kind of subsides pretty quickly once you're hanging out with the boys every day.
Yeah.
You get to see the goofy side of everyone, but it is apparent pretty quickly once you start doing like inter squads in the fall and playing real games. Who has that extra edge that's going to carry them on to, further careers in baseball. And some of the guys, like you were talking earlier about Cam Schlittler.
Yeah.
That was an obvious one. Whenever that kid took the ball and would step on the mound, he had that different mindset that you see some guys go to, right? Like he had that killer mentality. He took the ball and he knew no one had a shot to get a hit, right?
Yeah.
He was going to mow everyone down. And there's a couple of other guys that come to mind. Mike Sirota was my roommate. He was drafted out of high school, so he was pretty hyped up when I was getting there. But again, goofy kid, fun to hang out with. But when he steps in the box, he's a different animal. He steps in there with no question in his mind that he's going to get the job done, no matter who the pitcher is, no matter what team we're playing. He steps in there with full confidence, and it's something that I really could learn from, right? Because as a freshman going in, there's always that doubt. This isn't high school anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Can I hang with these guys? But baseball is such a tough game. If you step in that box and there's any doubt, if you think you might strike out, that it's already over. Right?
Yeah.
The pitcher already won. So that's the main thing you notice when talking about these pro ball guys is it's just the mindset. Full confidence in themselves, full confidence in their abilities, and just knowing that they're going to get the job done.
And you mentioned that the mindset's so important. You didn't have a junior year of high school baseball for COVID reasons, and then you were hurt your senior year.
Mm-hmm.
How concerning was it for you not having those 2 seasons, going into that freshman year and thinking, I haven't really played a full season in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to be able to hang?
Yeah, well, I guess it's a good thing I got the offer from Northeastern before my junior year because I wasn't on the field too much. I wasn't too concerned with it just because, I did miss 2 seasons of high school baseball, but I've been playing baseball my whole life.
Yeah.
I knew as long as I kept up with my training and, even just being around the team those 2 years was good for me. Just to sort of stay in the game. But I always had faith in my ability to, whenever I was going to get back out there, that I would, pick it up pretty quickly. It's like riding a bike. I've been doing it my whole life. I will say the workload once you get to college ball is quite different from high school.
Yeah.
You remember we had practice at 3 o'clock, like 3 to 5 every day, and then that was it. In college, you get lifts, and then you have class to go to, and then you get practice. So I was a little bit, I don't want to say thrown off, but caught off guard a little bit by how intense the workload was. But that's the same for every freshman, right? Like it is a different beast when you get to college ball. But I was fortunate enough to have a bunch of teammates that were going through it with me, upperclassmen that would kind of help me out, with time management and stuff like that. And then the support staff, the training staff at Northeastern, the academic support staff, they do a good job of making sure that transition's smooth.
And I'm sure there was a bunch of stuff that, wasn't considered mandatory, but especially as an underclassman, you feel the obligation, like, oh, I got to go because if I don't go, then this guy's going to.
Exactly, yep. Coach would always send out, optional practice, optional lifts, and everyone was there.
Yeah.
Because he says optional, but, especially Coach Glav. Nothing's optional with Coach Glav. And you don't want it to be either, right? You want to get that extra work in because it pays off in the end.
It's an opportunity. It's not a requirement.
Exactly.
And then you mentioned, Schlittler and how he's kind of made it, and you could tell right away. He's now facing some of the guys you grew up watching. And how surreal is that for you to see him face someone like a Manny Machado?
It is weird. I remember watching his big league debut, and before he took the mound, Aaron Judge walked over and gave him a pat in the back, and I'm thinking like these are his teammates now. Like I was his teammate a couple of years ago, and now he's got Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Jazz Chisholm, Volpe. It is pretty surreal. But I mean, he's always been such a great teammate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that for him there was probably a bit of an awe moment when he got to the big leagues, even in spring training, hanging around those guys.
Yeah.
But he's a cool dude. I'm sure they all love him like we did, and I'm just so happy to see he's not only up there but doing well.
Yeah, no, and he's doing really well.
Yep.
And these great players, there's a lot of prestige and awe around them. You played the Boston Red Sox at Northeastern, and you missed the year when all the starters were playing, and it was Devers and all those guys. But you faced this year Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, Jonathan Garcia, Abraham Toro, a bunch of guys who have gotten run for the Red Sox are huge parts of our future.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a little bit of a moment for awe for you? I know at one point, looking at the box where Meyer reached third base, was it like I'm standing next to Marcelo Meyer right now, or?
We would always kind of hype that game up in our heads before we get there because it is cool. We're playing the Boston Red Sox, especially our team is pretty much all from New England.
Mm-hmm.
We're all Red Sox fans. And we get there and we get to watch them take batting practice. I remember watching Devers take batting practice, and he was just like swinging 20%, just flicking balls over the Green Monster.
Yeah.
But it's weird, once the game starts, it's another game, right? I remember seeing the opening day lineup, and I remember Marcelo Meyer getting to third base, and it's just at that point it's just baseball.
Yeah.
Right. Coach Glav would always tell us, once that first pitch is thrown, it's what you guys been doing your whole lives.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say in the heat of the moment I was, kind of thrown off guard by all those guys in the lineup, all those big names. But afterwards, my friends were all texting me was Meyer talking to you on third base? Yeah, he just said, "What's up? How's it going?" But it was cool getting to say I played against those guys, seeing all the success they're having now.
Yeah. And then just from a baseball playing perspective, those at-bats, they're thrown a little harder. There's a little more movement. How different is it from facing someone who you'd face on a really good, regional team?
I would say the biggest thing I was surprised by was the strike zone.
Yeah.
I remember my first at-bat against the Red Sox. I forget who was pitching, but he threw me a first pitch cutter.
Mm-hmm.
And it started at my hip, and I think I blinked, and it was right over the middle of the plate, and I was expecting the guy to call it a strike. And he said, "Ball, little up." And I was like, "Oh, my God, this is a big league strike zone. This is awesome." But I would say the biggest difference is there's nothing straight. Every pitch moves. I've seen 100 miles an hour in college, but it's straight.
Yeah.
And if you see 100 miles an hour and it's coming in straight, at some point you're gonna hit it. You're gonna get a piece of it. But I mean, these guys were throwing 98, and it would start down the middle and then sink in on my hands. I think I broke a bat this past year on 98, a sinker. So it's definitely different. So it was cool to experience that. And then I guess we played who did we play? Minnesota the following 2 days. So those at-bats were pretty comfortable after facing those guys.
Oh, yeah. So then you faced other major league talent, whether it's regionals or the Futures League. You faced a couple of guys in the Futures League. You've also met some of your childhood idols. You played on the Brockton Rocks with the kids of, I believe, David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez and a bunch of other Red Sox legends. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, that was a cool experience. I remember on Father's Day, we had a home game, and I was just walking out to the field like I normally do, and David Ortiz is walking down the hallway, and I was like, "Poppy, what's up?" Gave him nugs. He gave me nugs. Said, "Good luck today." It was pretty cool. But then I remember one day coming into the field early. This is just a random day in the summer.
Yeah.
I came in early to take some extra batting practice, and there was a guy on the field wearing like jean shorts, like a crappy T-shirt, do-rag, dreads,
Yeah.
and he was throwing BP. And I at first I thought it was one of the maintenance workers.
Yeah.
And so I went in the locker room, grabbed my stuff, and came back out to the field, and it was Manny Ramirez throwing BP to little Manny.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, where am I right now?
Yeah.
But I hopped out there, took a couple swings with him. I remember my first couple of swings, I was just trying to hit line drives the opposite field, like my normal batting practice approach. And Manny didn't like that. He wanted me to pull some home runs over the left field wall. So I said, okay. I mean, Manny Ramirez tells you to hit home runs. You're going to do it. But yeah, that was an awesome experience. Getting to see those guys in the stands a couple times. Didn't ask for any autographs.
Yeah.
I wanted to play it cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an awesome experience.
Are you going to regret that in 3 or 4 years?
Probably, yep.
Okay.
But I can still say I play with them.
Yeah. And then the batting practice thing, I think that's a real testament to your, dedication to doing your work the right way.
Yep.
Because personally, if I got in batter's box and Manny Ramirez was watching me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm swinging for the fences immediately.
Yep.
And then I'm waiting for him to tell me, hey, hit line drives to the opposite field.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I thought he'd be happy with the batting practice that I was taking, but he wasn't. But yeah, I always try to just hit line drives in batting practice because it kind of gets my swing in the right place.
Yeah.
Because once you start facing high velocity, you gotta simplify things, right?
Yeah.
You try to start hitting home runs, and that's when you're swinging at sliders in the dirt and stuff like that. My coach Glavin was always big on Freddie Freeman. He'd always show us a clip of him taking batting practice, and everything was just a ground ball. He's a lefty, so everything was a ground ball to the shortstop.
Yeah.
And you see Freddie pulling home runs all the time in game.
Mm-hmm.
So backside line drives turn into pull side home runs in the game.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And, you mentioned Freddie Freeman, mentioned Coach Glavin always talks about Freddie Freeman and how he showed videos. Did that approach of trying to hit line drives to the opposite field originate in college, or was that something you had in high school or even earlier? Because I know Sean Zaslaw, our former teammate, talked about how he changed his whole approach to pitching when he got to college because he realized there's there's a run game and there's all these things that you have to adjust to.
Mm-hmm.
Is that different with hitting? Did you have to overhaul your approach?
I would say yes, honestly. I mean, we did face some pretty good arms in high school, but for the majority of the time, guys were just trying to throw strikes.
Yeah.
So the only thought I had in my head was, let's just hit this ball hard. I wasn't trying to look for any specific pitches. I was looking for strikes, and I was trying to swing as hard as I could and hit the ball hard.
Yeah.
Once you get to college, it's a bit of a different game because you get scouting reports of pitchers all before every single game.
Yep.
Every guy that comes out of the bullpen, you have the report on them. You know what they like to do. You know what their tendencies are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the game within the game that takes off once you get to college.
Yeah.
Because these guys, I mean, very few pitchers are going to throw 3 perfect pitches in one at bat,
Mm-hmm.
but they throw some good ones in there too.
Yeah.
And there's certain pitches where the only way you can hit it is kind of if you're looking for it, like a high fastball. If the guy's throwing 98, you got to look for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we get the scouting reports in college. We spend a good amount of time as a team going over it, and we'll adjust our plan or our approach depending on who the pitcher is. So if it's like a sinker guy, we got to see him up. If it's a guy with a high ride fastball, we got to push him down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really so yeah. When I got to college, I had to change my approach a little bit, just in terms of not my swing really. My swing's my swing, but just what I was looking for in every at bat, in every count, situation, stuff like that.
Is there anyone you kind of modeled your swing after, or is that just like a wholly original thing for you?
I never put too much thought into the mechanics of my swing, just because I always had a good swing growing up. My swing's, not to brag or anything, but it's pretty much like textbook.
Yeah.
There's nothing crazy about my swing. It's just a stock righty swing. So I didn't put too much thought into my swing when I got to college. It was more talking about approach. Like I would talk to other hitters. I would talk to Mike Sirota a lot about, what are you trying to do in this count, in this situation and stuff like that. Just, like I said, the game within the game. Because that's really, your swing is your swing.
Mm-hmm.
Your approach is 95% of the battle. If you can stick to your approach and you can win your approach and, stick to your plan, if you have a good swing, chances are you're going to have success.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much approach-based for me.
Would you ever talk to your pitchers to see like how they would approach you or something like that to try to get even a further step ahead?
I did, yeah. My freshman year roommate was Dennis Colleran, and he got drafted in the 7th round last year by the Royals. Always a hard thrower. I think he's up to 100, I think a 92-mile-an-hour slider.
Yeah.
I would talk to him a lot about, what he's trying to do in certain counts against certain hitters and stuff like that. And I think I talked to him too much because I owned him in inter squads. I always knew what pitch was coming.
Yeah.
And other guys would struggle because he's throwing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But I knew he was throwing a fastball in certain counts. So maybe, I guess he probably regrets talking to me about approach, but I don't.
I mean, he got drafted. He's 7th round Royals.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
He's organizationally ranked. He's doing fine.
He'll be fine. Yep.
He'll get there. But it seems to have helped you, and is that something you would suggest even younger players, not just like your college players, that younger pitchers, like talk to pitchers, try to find out what they're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always tell kids the best thing they can do is just go out and play.
Mm-hmm.
Just go out, let your athleticism take over. But the biggest regret I have is not, committing to that mental side of the game.
Yeah.
Because this game it's hard enough as it is. If if you put me out there and just said, hey, go swing the bat, run the bases, catch the ball, that's hard enough.
Yeah.
So if you can, really commit to being a student of the game and studying the mental side of it, approaches and stuff like that. I always think approach is the best thing for hitters because, you're at the plate, like, you hit the ball, there's 9 guys in the field that are trying to get you out.
Yeah.
It's hard. So, if all you got to worry about is sticking to your approach and hitting a ball hard. Once you hit a ball hard, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You might hit like a 110-mile-an-hour line drive at the shortstop, and you're out.
Yeah.
But you stuck to your approach, and you take that as a win because, batting average and all these stats are great, but, doesn't tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can hit a screaming line drive and it's an out, and the next at bat you can get a jam shot, broken bat single over the second baseman's head.
Yeah.
So sticking to your approach, it's also a way that you can make the game more fun, right? Like, you might get out, but you come back to the dugout and you say, I stuck to my approach.
Yeah.
I won that battle against the pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I got out, but you take that as a win. It keeps your confidence up, and all you're going to do is stick to that approach, and the hits will come.
It seems like a great way to kind of minimize the highs and the lows, too.
Exactly.
Because it's such a high and low sport. And you mentioned, like, the approach is so major for you, and that's clear. Do you ever, are there big league players who you look at and you look at their approach while they're hitting and you think to yourself, I want to kind of try to approach my at-bats like he does?
Yeah. I used to love watching Xander Bogaerts hit because he's a guy who, kind of like myself, I didn't really strike out too much, put the ball in play.
Yeah.
But he's a guy, if you watch his at-bats, early in counts, he's trying to get his swing off.
Yeah.
Right? He's not getting cheated on anything early in the count.
Yeah.
He's looking to get his A swing off. He's looking to do damage early in the counts. And then when he gets to 2 strikes, he battles. He shortens up, he sees the ball deep, lets the ball travel, and just tries to get to that next pitch, right? Because eventually you're going to see some balls, you're going to get that pitcher's pitch count up, and then maybe he makes a mistake if you grind him out, and then you smash that one. So I used to love watching him hit.
Yeah, and, it's the best way to get that blue pit, right? You almost never see the blue pit when you're, swinging for the fences. It seems like, for whatever reason, the baseball gods are like, no, you're trying too hard.
Yep.
Just like when you go shorten up with 2 strikes, it seems like the ball always kind of finds a hole, or you just move the runner over or something happens, and it's
Well,
so
exactly,
much more
right? If you strike out,
yeah,
nothing good can happen.
correct.
You put the ball in play, you put pressure on the defense to pick it up and throw it to first base.
Yeah.
And, you see, I mean, errors are a part of the game.
Yes.
You see it in the big leagues. You definitely see it in college.
Yeah.
So if you can do everything you can to not let them off the hook, put the ball in play, battle, get the pitch count up, it all adds up later in the game.
100%. And that the fielding is another thing I kind of want to talk to you about, because I was looking at your stats and it seemed like you were kind of consistently like a pretty good fielder at third base. What kind of preparation goes into like being able to man third base, which is a tough position to play every day at the college level?
Yeah, well, I played shortstop my entire life, all through high school. And shortstop, it's hard. It's probably the hardest position. You know what? I wouldn't say that. The thing about shortstop, you get so much time to read the ball because you're so much farther away from home plate. They put me at third base my freshman year, and I had balls getting smoked at it. It's the hot corner.
Yeah.
I had never seen a ball come at me that fast before in my life.
Yeah.
So I would always talk to Coach Glavin about how I can get better, because I was getting eaten up left and right as a freshman. And he would always just challenge me to, move my feet as much as possible, like almost too much.
Yeah.
Start with your glove low and keep it low. If you got to go left or right, your glove has to be out already, because if you do get there, it's going to be on you quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say just getting down and low early, moving low, moving fast, keep the feet going. And then once you catch the ball, the thing about third base is the ball gets on you so quick, you kind of have some time to dust it off, set your feet, and make a good throw. But also throwing from different arm angles. I used to watch Manny Machado.
Yes.
I don't know if he really ever squared a ball up and threw it like he's just playing catch. He's always throwing from different arm angles. And I think it's a great skill to have, because, if you got to make a play in the hole, your feet are going so fast, it's tough to slow them down. So if you can toss in a spin move in there, drop your arm slot, throw a nice little fade over to first base, it's a real advantage to have. And I think that's something I got better at over the course of my 4 years, learning to throw from different arm angles, where to start the ball so it ends up right at the first baseman's chest, and stuff like that. And Coach Glavin would always tell me, once the game time, there's times to work on your mechanics and practice and stuff like that, but once the game time comes, just be an athlete.
Yeah.
Let your athleticism take over, and, we'll deal with whatever comes.
And then you mentioned your analytical kind of approach. Shortstop is a very much leadership-oriented position where you're kind of in charge of the infield.
Yep.
You move to third base after kind of being in charge of the infield your whole life. Do you take certain things from that where you're more aware of what everyone else has to be doing because you played shortstop?
Yeah. So that's another thing that Coach Glavin likes to do with us. I played every position in the infield at some point in my college career.
Okay.
I think I started my opening day freshman year at first base, which I had never played first base before in my life. But once you're able to get reps at each spot, on every single play what every position is doing. And then you're absolutely right about the shortstop being the leader of the infield. I was the leader of the infield my entire life. That's not something that goes away now that you're playing third base.
Yeah.
Right? Like me and my third or shortstop and second baseman were always talking. Every pitch, is this a fast runner? Does he pull the ball? Are we shifting here? What are we going to do in this situation? That's not something that just shuts off.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's a big reason why we were so successful in the infield this year as a team. We were always talking, always communicating, pop flies, ground balls, bunt plays, always talking, always communicating, and we knew what to do in every single situation. And it's a big thing to have as a team, because games are so long. There's 9 innings of plays that have to be made.
Yeah.
And when it comes to crunch time and our backs are up against the wall, we trust in our ability to make the right decision, make the right play, and get the job done.
Now, I just want to shift gears quickly before we finish up. I want to talk about you won your school's first regional game. Correct me if I'm wrong. Since 1973.
That's correct.
What does that mean for you to be able to do that in your senior year, your final year? It's obviously been a progression with your class, and you've kind of done a little better every year. So, what does that mean for you?
It's awesome. We always talk about as a team leaving the jersey in a better place than where you found it. And I can honestly say that myself, the guys that I got recruited with, we've successfully done that. You know, we have been knocking on the door for the past 3 years now. We've had some really good teams that haven't quite showed up in the biggest moments towards the end of the year. We've had great regular seasons. We fell short in the conference tournament 2 years in a row. So for us to put it all together this past year, my last year playing baseball, it really is it's a great way to go out. It's the culmination of all the efforts, all the practices, all the lifts. It's nice to see it pay off, especially as a team from New England, right?
Yeah.
Playing against Mississippi State, who has 24/7 access to their weight room, their field. They don't have to take a bus to practice. For us to hang in there with those guys and to give them a run for their money, it does show that we're Northeast mid. I remember having to shovel off the field my freshman year to practice. I'm serious. We had shovels out there.
No, I'm sure.
It is awesome to see, and it's awesome to put us on the map, right?
Yeah.
For the guys that come after me, and I'm hoping that they'll continue to pass on that leadership role, because it's something I gained over the course of my years, my experience. So I'm hoping that continues, and the seniors next year will tell the incoming guys, like, hey, we don't have it easy. There's a lot of stuff that we have to go through to compete with these guys, but I promise that all that hard work that you put in, it's going to make winning even more special.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. This has been a real pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.